Welcome guys, as mentioned in my previous miyoomini Plus review video, I stated that the OS it came with did do the job but really needed some work. It is capable of running systems up to the PlayStation 1, but it's been really let down with the preset cores and settings, causing compatibility issues, screen tearing and frame rate dips. So much like the original miyoomini, the guys who created Onion OS have been working hard on the version for the Plus, which is currently sitting on version 4.2.0.2, and it is a beta pre-release. So no alpha release as of yet, but I'm sure the guys are working hard. So a big thanks for the team behind this for making a handheld now worthy of picking up. Which you can also show your support by heading to their page and giving them a small donation. You will find that link in the description box below. So later on in this video I explain more and go into details on this new features and compatibility. But first let's find out how to set this all up. This is quite important, but the first step for owners who managed to pre-order this or get an early revision model, you might want to go ahead and check out your system information section to find out what firmware version this is on. If this is on version 2023, 30326, you could skip this part as this has a firmware that is compatible of installing this new OS. But if it is prior, you would need to get a new firmware installed. To do this, get yourself a nice SD card, something a bit better than the one it came with. Pop that into your PC and head to their GitHub page. The link of course is in the description box below. Avoid the top part of this page as this information and download links are for the original miyoomini, not for the Plus. But further down you see a section for the Onion OS version 4.2 beta. This is what's compatible with the Plus. Then a little bit further you will see the section known bugs, and then you got the upgrade firmware. Again, you won't need to do this if your miyoomini Plus is at this updated version already. But to upgrade to make it compatible with this new Onion OS, it is really simple to do so. Give that download link a click and then that will give you a zip file. Drag the contents out of that, which is just a single image file. Put that somewhere safe. Now with the SD card that you put in earlier, this needs to be in the correct format for the miyoomini Plus to notice the SD card. So mine is a 32GB, so I use the built-in Windows formatter to set this to FAT32. If you decide to use an SD card which is larger than 32, you need to use an alternative software like GUI formatter to get this to FAT32. Now the SD card is all ready, simply just drag that miyoomini image file to the root of the drive and safely eject. Pop that into the Plus and then plug in some USB-C power first, then power it up. You'll see a rocket ship just for a few seconds just to show that it is upgrading, but mine was already upgraded to this firmware, so nothing really happened, it just booted up straight away. But this doesn't take too long, just a few seconds, and then when it's booted up, just turn it off. With that all out of the way, let's quickly and simply get Onion OS all set up. Heading back to the GitHub page, and then under that Plus beta version 4.2 that you were on previously, you will see a contributors section, and then you will find an asset section just below. Click that to pop down some links. You will then see a zip file weighing in around 380 megs. Give that a download. Once that is downloaded, unzip the content and put that somewhere safe. Now when you put your SD card back in from your miyoomini Plus, you do have some files in there. Just give them a delete and then simply drag all the contents from your unzipped OS that you just downloaded onto the root of the SD card. And bam, it's all ready to install. But just a couple of things to help your experience before doing so. RetroArch will need the BIOS files to help compatibility and disk-based systems to run. So on your SD card, now you will find the RetroArch folder, and then click the same one again, then you will find the systems folder. This is where you put all your BIOS files there. Once again, I will not be able to tell you where you can download them. Next up, of course, you will need your games, well, your ROMs. You could have backed up your ROMs from your SD card from your original setup, but as always I recommend with these devices is using your own ROM setup and put them in the right corresponding folder. If you are wondering why you can't find the NES or the Super Nintendo folder, they are named the Japanese version, which is Famicom and Super Famicom, so that'll be under FC and S. FC. So now that you put all the necessary ROMs you want to put on this device, you've got the OS, the BIOS files, and now all your games all ready. So safely eject this and pop this into your miyoomini Plus and let it work its magic. So this process can take around about a good 10 minutes or even more, so this will be good to go ahead and grab yourself a cuppa. But here are some OS upgrade notes. We got updated and better core setup for each systems with recommended settings applied for each one. A further stable OS and menu and navigation with retro achievements and online gameplay. Brightness can go as low as 3%, which is good for some bedtime gaming so you're not burning your eyes late at night. The battery percentage is now more precise and is packed with some apps like the OTA updater and an FTP for file transferring. But again, this is in its beta form and I can't wait to see what the team come up with a stable alpha update. Once this is all set up, Onion OS does like to have that extra helping hand where it does have a nice welcoming guide, but you would then have to select which systems you want to feature on this handheld. You can have expert mode as well if you'd like to proceed with this, just kind of indicates which core you want to apply for each system and additional apps. But let's keep this simple for now, and once you've got all that done, it just likes to indicate which ones they're going to proceed with. So when you've done this, it is now going to boot up for the first time and you're finally in. A very tasty looking theme is already applied by default, which is nice, and when heading to the settings, it still provides much of the same as original OS. But what is handy for a fair few people out there is there are more languages that you can apply with this. I do recommend getting the Wi-Fi set up all first. When you go to the app section, there is already a bunch of these apps applied, and I do like the theme switcher, so you can now switch things up, and I'm sure not too soon in the future we'll be getting some updates. It does have a straightforward, simple navigation around this menu interface, but I do recommend getting used to its shortcuts, because then it could be a bit frustrating when you do have some accidental touches. But what I find that really stands out with Onion OS is all its customization, tweaks and adjustments, which is a really nice addition and quite rare to see on these handhelds, so you can set up to your own preference if you wish to go down that route. Now heading into the game section, where I'm sure you guys will spend most of your time. Straight off the bat, the NES is running certain titles better, the way that it should have been in the first place, and those nasty borders have now been taken away. Well, just my opinion anyway. It does have that correct ratio applied, better stability with the Super Nintendo and Game Boy Color games. Again, I do recommend acquainting yourself with all the shortcut buttons that are mentioned in the welcome guide menu. What I would like to see in the app section is a dedicated image scraper app, so you can get all your images downloaded for those games just to make them look nicer onto the game's menu, which could be provided with the built-in Wi-Fi, but I'm sure it won't be too long before the guys go around before updating this. Now I do love me some retro chivos, which you have to go in the retro app settings to get this all set up. And then when I did that, it did take a while for the chivos to get triggered, but then after a while it was running pretty smooth. I'm just not much of a fan of the plain white text that you find at the bottom of the screen. Some image and sound indication would be great, otherwise it just seems pretty empty at the moment. I did find some very minor stability issues navigating around this main menu interface, but nothing too major at all. A simple online gameplay setup app would be awesome as well to see on this handheld. It's still unfortunate that this miyoomini Plus can't handle any OTG support, so you can't connect any controllers if you like to get any video output. But again, there's no video output on this device, so we may be able to see some updates to try and get some controllers working, or even some adapters for the USB-C port. All in all, I do need to spend some more time with this OS, but this is already a great OS and is much better than the original one that this came with, and I'm looking forward to some OTA updates, which I'm sure we'll get in the near future. If you'd like a more detailed video around navigation around this menu and setup, then hit me with a comment below and I'm sure to do a video on that. Soon I'll be working on another video regarding the RG35XX versus this miyoomini Plus, where I'll also be comparing the Onion OS versus the Garlic OS. So I hope to catch you there, and as always, if you'd like to hit that button, want to support this channel, just simply click subscribe, leave a comments below, and I'll catch you lot on my next video.